We'll call this first meeting of October, school board meeting to order. Let the record reflect that Tim Burden's not here tonight. Everything about tonight's meeting, it can be found at rockridgepublicschools.org or at the entrance to this building, or entrance to this room. At this time, I would ask everybody to please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reports. Brandy, you had a meet and confer. I don't know if you're prepared to bring up any notes or anything.
I think I've got notes.
And then,
So do you want to add some discussion on the meet and confer?
yeah,
Where would you like to place that?
and negotiations. It doesn't matter, but then maybe Noel could give his version under superintendent's topics too.
So Brandy, would you like to, you'll be discussing that, would you, where would you like that placed?
Myself and Nicole both can. Nicole was there for the majority of the time
Oh, okay. I didn't-
for the meet and confer.
Where would you like to place that on the agenda?
It does not matter to me, maybe under reports somewhere.
Okay,
How about you can, put that 5.2 student representative will be off there.
yep, that's a good idea.
Great idea.
So we'll do both of them at 5.2.
Sounds good.
Meet and confer.
Committee updates.
Okay. Alrighty. We've got a motion by Director Lotiger, support by Director Espy to approve the agenda. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 3, recognition of visitor input. Do we have any, nobody signed up, but we have some people in the audience that would like to speak. Please come forward to the podium, state your name, and you have 3 minutes.
Okay, my name is Nicole Reed. I'm here to advocate for the second grade students that I have this year. This is my 10th year teaching second grade at Parkview Elementary School. In those years, I have never had over 22 students in my classroom. Last week, those numbers went to 27. My classroom is very small. The students do not have very much room to walk between desks. I have my desks in groups so that the students can collaborate. I now have 2 groups that have 6 students. Smaller groups are better when second graders are collaborating. In the 10 years that I have taught at Parkview, this is the first year that I have had to have 5 small reading groups. Due to the number of reading groups, I have needed to have another adult help me with my reading groups. We have a grandmother who comes and helps at our school. She is helping with one of those reading groups. I am not personally getting the small group reading time with all of my students like I have in the past years. Due to having 27 students in my room, I have also struggled meeting all my students' needs. I have students that struggle focusing and students that are struggling staying on task. This is due to so many students and all the extra activity going on in my room. I am here to let you know that I am worried that my students will not make the gains that they should or deserve to make because of the large class size that I have this year. Second grade does 2 project-based learning activities. These projects require space for all students to collaborate. With 27 students in my small classroom, these projects would be very challenging. When the district decided to cut these group of students from 4 to 3 sections, the number of students was much lower. I alone have 3 students that are new to the district. Mrs. Forge has 3, and Mr. Warren has 3 students that are new to our district. That is a total of 9 students that were not accounted for when cutting this group from 4 to 3 sections. Again, I am here to advocate for my students. Please consider adding a 4th section of second grade to Parkview. Making sure that my students get the education they deserve is why I went into teaching, and I assume that is why you chose to be on the school board.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you.
I'm second grade teacher Nina Scorch. Dear school board members, thank you for allowing us to take the time to address our concerns of increasing class sizes in second grade at Parkview. I'm here tonight to tell you that class sizes matter. We are asking that you either take action tonight or to make a plan to take action soon before there's no more physical space for new students to come to our school. Doing the math, we currently have 7 more students in second grade than the information you were provided with in August. If you were to add another teacher to second grade, each classroom would have 20 students, a much more manageable number to provide a world-class education to. I am certain you have all heard that there is no research supporting small class sizes. Yet at the same time, I will also inform you that there's no research that supports large classroom sizes or even indicates that larger class sizes have positive effects on student learning. What are the ultimate goals of learning for students? I believe our goals are to ensure that all students have an equal chance to succeed and that there are no gaps in academic or social growth. That being said, our students need the opportunity and space to learn and grow. They need both whole group and small group instruction. They need differentiated instruction, individualized learning opportunities, they need positive relationships, and focused attention. They want to shine as well as need the time to adapt to situations as their needs arise. Large class sizes limit every aspect of what our students need. Let's focus on prioritizing what is truly important. Students' needs should always come first. Class size does matter. It matters to students, it matters to parents, it matters to teachers and to paras. Please make this a priority. This year, there are far more interruptions, less space to learn, less time and opportunities for small groups, and differentiated instruction. There is reduced student engagement, less time for projects. My list could go on and on. With these examples, you can see that overcrowded classrooms not only interfere with the quality of education students receive, but also the frequency and duration of instruction. In my 17 years of teaching, this is the large classroom size I have ever experienced, and let me explain what I had to consider as a teacher coming in this school year. Where am I going to find 2 more tables and 8 more chairs to put in my classroom? Where are they going to fit? When am I going to find time to make meaningful connections with my students, each and every one of them and their families? When can I find time to meet with the ever-growing needs of students? Where do I find extra time to teach students needing extra help or needing reteaching of expected behaviors? And how can I possibly fit 27 parent-teacher conferences in the 15-minute slots that we have? Wait, there aren't enough slots for 27 parents to attend. There's not even, I'm going to have to make some kind of adjusting for conference times. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Cullen Warren, I teach second grade. I'm here kind of to support them. What I was gonna do is I was gonna come up here and I was gonna have 27 people come stand in front of you. We don't have 27 people here. We have 19, so we'd have to add more people. So you, and then all those people come into that small area, that's our area to teach in. Some classes in the high school have 35. There's not enough seats for those students in here, including yours. That's too many kids. Now, I'm one of those guys that, hey, you know what? I need to get it done. I got what I got. I'm gonna get it done. And that's how I felt until I saw a board meeting a couple weeks ago, and some of you have already heard this. Josh came up, he did his job. He said, hey, we have coaches that are working with at least 20 athletes. 20 athletes. I'm like, 20 athletes? I wish I only had 20 students. And you very quickly said, oh, yeah, he needs more. He needs more coaches. And you voted like this. You looked around a little bit, you had a little bit of discussion, you asked some questions, which I appreciate, but you basically said, yeah, well, it sounds good to me. Well, we can't just do it for once, well, let's give them all, to everybody. Dr. Schmidt, I'm watching Dr. Schmidt, and he's like, we don't have the money for this. You could see it on his face. And I've seen that many times where you guys have voted on something, and he's like, well, we really don't have the money to do it. But now we have enough coaches, but we don't have enough teachers. That's sad. When you go out to the community, are you going to tell people, hey, we don't have enough teachers, but we have plenty of coaches? Is that something you want to tell the community? I have people that call me. My family is a family of teachers. They call me and they're like, what are they thinking? These are people in the community. These are the people that give money to this school. These are the people that you guys made promises to, that you're going to have a good school for all children to learn. So my request is simply, I have three things. Please put the students first. I love our sports programs, but some of our sports programs are feasting and some of our classrooms are starving. Ask more questions. The highest paid guy in our school is sitting right there. You pay him a lot of money for a reason. Don't just guess, ask him questions. He's willing to answer. I'm guessing he has all the answers because when we had our meeting the other day, some of the board members were like, well, we didn't know. Ask him. He has the answers for you. He's running a budget for you guys. Ask him questions. That would be great. And stop kicking the can down the road. Because this year, second grade has too many students. Next year, first grade and second grade are going to have too many students. Please ask questions of Dr. Schmidt. Please come to our classrooms and see what we're working with. I wasn't going to come here tonight because I said my piece the other night, but I came here for those two who spoke passionately about it, and I came here for my 27 students that I'm going to have pretty soon. There's chairs right there, would all be full right now with students in one small room.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak? The public? Anybody? Okay, we'll move along. At this time, the consent agenda, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Overdahl, support? Support. Are you on? Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a couple I want to pull. Now that I have my- in front of me. There it is. For discussion, 4.8.
Yeah. 4.8. Okay. For discussion?
Yeah, and 4.15.
4.15.
I guess that's it.
Okay, all right, so go ahead and we'll discuss those right now. 4.8, go ahead, Paul.
I see Christy Dixon is twice on the consent agenda to hire her as a para and then as a traffic control position. So first of all, unless I'm mistaken, I haven't seen that position appear on any of our agendas yet. Is that a new position?
You are correct. You have not seen that on our agendas yet.
Okay. And so, how many, let's see, when we have a new position, we usually have a job description, we usually have a board approves. I know under the consent agenda, we approve things, but when it's something new like this, you know, a standalone discussion, I think would be more appropriate as a separate agenda item. But then a traffic control position, will she be the only one at this point in time? Because I've been at the school toward the end of school and I see other employees directing traffic. So I was wondering if they were considered traffic control people too. And they're getting $20 an hour? That's my first question about traffic control people, how many we have in a position.
Well, a couple things. First of all, we need somebody doing this, especially at the high school. You do have some other employees who are doing this. Some of them are just doing it free. They just want to do it. They just want to help out. They're just going out in some elementary schools, high school, and they're just helping for periods of time. Sometimes it's all days of the week. Sometimes it's just some days of the week. You need this position. We have done this before where we have, and I freely admit, this is not listed in ASME under the wording like this. I'll change it. I'll call it something else. We'll just call it a para job or something like that, other duties as assigned. In the short term, we need someone. Well, I will certainly be negotiating with ASME on this one as far as the position, but we think you're going to need this position long-term now that we've had some experience with the parking lots and flow and how people are moving in and out of the lot. We've gotten the buses spaced apart, starting and ending times at Laurentian and the high school. So that's better, but we still need somebody helping out on the traffic position. It doesn't have to be called this position. That's just a position we called it right now.
How would this person's position be different than the other ones that are directing traffic right now?
Well, one is this person would be paid. You have other teachers who are doing this. They're not getting paid. because they don't want to get paid.
But they're, what they actually will do versus what this person, no matter what you call it, traffic control person, will do. How will that be different than the ones who are volunteering their time?
It's very, very similar.
Okay,
It's helping parents pick up kids, kids move, cars move in the right direction, so we don't get blockades, keeping things moving, letting the buses go through. It really is very similar.
Would this be like a half hour at the beginning of the day and a half hour at the
No
end?
more than that.
Okay.
I know
We're
in
talking
the
about
past,
20
Mark has
minutes
been
or
out
so.
there, I think Mark Winter has been out there. Yeah. Yeah.
how many hours a day do you anticipate this being?
Not even one. We're talking about 15 minutes,
Before and
20
after?
minutes, something like that. Maybe half an hour under extreme circumstances.
So this person would be getting $10 per day to come in the morning and to come in the evening or after school?
Could happen.
You know, I think that this one should be taken off the agenda and spoken about separately at a different point in time, because is this considered a casual position? We don't have a job description. What about AFSCME? They may insist on it being negotiated in their contract. Could be an overload for somebody else, and so I think there are too many questions at this point in time to go ahead and approve it. In the meantime, we could probably just work with the volunteers that we have and any others that would volunteer, but I think we need to consider this one at a separate point in time, and I would make a motion to remove that one from the consent agenda.
And board members, at this point, I need to say, you can do that. You can say, well, consider that you have a problem right now. And we have a solution for you to make it better. You can certainly do what Director Sorkin is asking. Then I'm just telling you, it's going to be gummed up until we can get this, something done.
Well, Noel, I don't think it would be gummed up because we've, done without it for now. And if need be, maybe you could go out there and direct traffic too, or you said Mark Winters had. But I'm saying this is more important than just passing it under a consent agenda. I think we need to run it through AFSCME and consider if you were going to be asking us to hire more people like this, or then will the other ones that are doing it voluntarily now say, oh, well, then maybe I should get money for this too. And are these teachers or AFSCME people or any other employees, maybe they're administrative people, are they leaving their jobs to go, maybe their contact hours or their contractual hours to go do traffic? I don't know, there's just too many things about it because it's something brand new, that's all.
I would agree about the AFSCME part. I would agree about that, but as you had stated, because you had asked if somebody is gonna come for $10 a day or whatever it was, to do half hour in the morning and whatever you had mentioned. But the person that, it looks like the person being hired to do that position is being hired as a paraprofessional as well, and probably is just being paid extra time to stay later or come earlier to fill that position. But I would agree about AFSCME and having it run through AFSCME first.
We have other parents too that may have wanted to do this for a little extra money, and let's see, was this posted and advertised, or how did this come about that I don't even know Christy Dixon and how it came about, but maybe if we are going to have it, maybe there were others that would have liked to have had it too. I don't know how she was
We
chosen.
post all positions.
So this was posted too,
So
We
we got,
post all
and
positions.
this one was too.
so we got a motion to remove this for future discussion.
Well, that was, yeah.
Okay, seconded by Colbert Dahl. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ooh, 3-3. 3-3 goes nowhere.
3-3. Take a roll call, I think it's
What's it?
4-2.
Was it? Okay, all right. It's
I didn't
4-2.
hear you
Okay,
or
all
John
right.
vote though.
Okay, it was 4-2, now I apologize.
I don't know, I
So
just-
Lisa, you said,
Yep.
okay.
I didn't hear
I
it.
said yes as well.
Okay, all right,
Okay, I didn't.
4-2, so 4.8 has been removed for future discussion, run it through, ask me and see what they say. Okay? Very good. Okay, Polly, 4.15.
Yeah, well, along with the resignation letter came some concerns of this person in the position. And so I guess I would just, maybe because it was brought to our attention now, of this position and its job duties and the workload and whatever, and how, what we had before with less students, and now we have more students, and with less teachers, and now we have more teachers for the job description and the load of this position. I mean, she's resigning, so I think this one too, we need to take another look at this position to see if we wanted to make it more than a one position, or 1.5, time it, 1.5, or one full-time, or whatever. So I'd like to reconsider this position and its duties with this resignation.
So there wasn't a resignation letter in the board packet?
There was, but it brought up some concerns about that position that I wasn't aware of, and probably other board members weren't. And when it comes to, jobs and budget cuts or budget additions to their second grade staff or high school staff or science or any of our other math classes, we should consider this alongside it to see if we want to make any change to this position. And did the job description change from when there was Virginia and Evelyn Gilbert, and then when we combined, it says that this position was the same work that two people once did in Virginia with less students and less staff. So I'd just like to reconsider also this, along with, I know it's a little bit off topic, but with class sizes and additional staff for some of our elementary and our junior and senior high classes and courses. So whether it goes into a personnel committee meeting or it comes back up at our next board meeting or goes into negotiations, I don't know. We've got the authority to add staff at any point in time, and reductions in staff is a little bit different, but
I do think that it's off topic on what we're approving right now for the acceptance of the resignation. I mean, I agree, the discussion that was brought up earlier could be brought to the personnel committee, but it is off topic on what we're voting on right now.
you're right, it's the resignation we're voting on the consent agenda, but there's just, there are things that are related to agenda items and consent agenda items, and that was my
I do
intent.
think it's related, and I do think we should have a discussion about it.
Okay.
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion to that effect then.
make a motion on what now, Polly?
That the position tied with 4.15, some secretarial, that somehow the administration set up some more discussion with boards or committees or something about this. I can't bring in that staffing issue, but maybe that should have been added to the agenda too, but we don't have another
So you're
board
ma-
meeting for 2 weeks, so.
So you're making a motion to have a discussion on class sizes and?
No, that's a
Yeah.
Because
separate.
it's off topic.
Yeah.
Maybe it'd be, what
I'm kinda
committee
concerned
would
with
it,
your
personnel?
Well, let's just put it this way,
Yeah.
let's just have it understood though, from the discussion, that the board should discuss it, and then you decide and put it on, and you and Bill
Yeah.
decide
I've got
when and
notes.
how we will address it.
We'll send it to the personnel committee.
Okay, perfect.
That would be fine.
So with all that, we got a motion by Culver Dahl, support by Yuhan, to approve the consent agenda. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on. Any reports? We got Paul Pelletier here from Rams to discuss what his organization is all about and how they can help our district.
And members of the school board, the reason why Paul is up here, every once in a while, Steve Georgie used to be the one coming up to give you an update about comings and goings with Rams, because he does interact with a lot of different municipalities and other school districts. But also, in addition, for him to give you an update is for you to ask him. He loves answering questions. He loves back and forth discussions. So this is not just a presentation from him, but your opportunity to ask him any question and have a back and forth dialogue with him tonight. So that's the whole purpose of why he's up there tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Schmidt, Chair Addy, and members of the board. My name is Paul Peltier. I'm the Executive Director of RAMS. RAMS stands for the Range Association of Municipalities and Schools. You are probably quite familiar with my predecessors, Steve Georgie and Ida Rukavina. I've been leading RAMS since July of last year, so about 15 months now coming up. And as a result of that, I'm kind of going around talking to different stakeholder groups, putting the show on the road, so to say, and engaging in hopefully what will turn into helpful dialogue about what the priorities of the Rockbridge School District are and how RAMS can help. So have that at the back of your mind while we're discussing things today. I'm originally born in Hibbing, raised in Grand Rapids, went to Grand Rapids High School. We live in Virginia now, so this is our home district. So this is nice to kind of be here and be among you here today. I'm an educator by training. I'm a 15-year band and choir teacher. I'm a former coach. I coach swimming, and I bring a lot of those skills and life experience to my work here at RAMS. We represent 27 cities, 27 townships, and 15 school districts, all within the taconite assistance area. And for those of you who are somewhat familiar with that, I've included a map of where we are and where we find ourselves within that taconite assistance area. RAMS is founded in Minnesota State Statute in 1939 in Statute 471, and the boundaries were set at that time to include areas affected by mining. RAMS is to support, protect, and defend and coordinate with and be the primary institute of civic government between cities, townships, and school districts within the TAA. So you'll see the school district boundaries on our map indicate the boundaries of the taconite assistance area. So if you can see where all the mining facilities are, you can see where all the school districts are, where all the cities and our townships and our RAMS membership are. So as we go through this journey, you can refer back to that through the lens of our community work. Unlike public comment, where you were not expected to or authorized really to have a back and forth, at this time we can't. So if you have any questions, feel free to jump in at any time. RAMS serves 13,000 square miles, 153,000 people. But one thing I would really put a fine point on is that any two random suburbs in the cities got us beat for population. So what do? We work together creatively with each other, with our 69 local units of government who are members of RAMS, and together we pool our resources, we bring all of the good ideas together, and we try and affect change across the state and especially for our region. We work with the entire legislative delegation of the Range delegation to try and make good things happen at the Minnesota legislature, and we work with our mayors, city councilors, school board members, township supervisors, county commissioners, everybody who's in local civic government up here to make good things happen for our local civic units of government. We are to provide collaborative problem solving between and among these groups and with private industry. We are also authorized to establish a specific prioritized legislative agenda for the region. And one of the reasons that I'm here today is to share with you some of the legislative priorities we had last year, but also to ask what should we have on our priorities this coming year in 2025. We know that the legislative landscape can certainly change in November, and with that might come some opportunities or some challenges. So how would you like RAMS to be positioning itself for the future with that school district lens specifically in mind? So I've included some of those items in your packet with you right now. We've got a list of kind of what happened, a longer packet, in all areas of legislation, not just the things that RAMS had as priorities or just that affect the range, but all over. So if you're interested in what happened in transportation, interested in what happened in education funding, interested in what happened in outdoor recreation things, that's included in this packet. Okay? And also right underneath the map is our legislative priorities from 2024. And I won't go through those individually. You can see that they are mining focused, they are community focused, they are regional focused as well. Anything that ranges from EMS distributions all the way to protecting local government aid and school subsidy agreements. So you can see that the work of RAMS is quite varied and establishes itself as one of those organizations that's interested in all of the things. So really, if it affects life on the range in any way, shape, or form, whether it's elder housing, childcare, school funding, local government services, we are interested in it because it truly affects everything. And as you know from your budget and fiduciary duties as a school district, what happens at the county, what happens at the state, sometimes affects you, often affects what happens at the school district level. So understanding how all of these items work together is part of translating what happens in the work of RAMS. And as a former teacher, I've got two Post-it notes right above my desk at my office right now in RAMS. One of them says, "This is teaching," and the other one says, "This ain't teaching." And all of my work fits one of those two buckets. Sometimes it's teaching about the range, sometimes it's teaching about a region that people don't know about, especially when I'm talking to folks in St. Paul or even just outside of our Iron Range area. And other times it is not teaching. It has to do with wheeling and dealing and trying to make some collaborative efforts across the region, breaking down barriers and de-siloing our communities when you would almost never have gone to another town in some generations, right? Well, now we're realizing that we need each other more than ever before, and we are truly stronger together. The tagline for Rams is one range, one voice, and truly what that means for me is when we all work together, we have a stronger voice both at the Capitol and among each other across the region. Some of the issues that we work on, my mission is to connect, communicate, and advocate on issues ranging very widely from broadband. You kind of know if you live out in the hinterlands, it's not easy to get broadband. Ledge Rock is a real thing. And I taught through COVID. A lot of you were here during that time. Some of the same kids who had to go to the McDonald's parking lot in Chisholm would have to go there again because the broadband just isn't out there for them right now. So you've seen that struggle in your own communities and you've kind of fought that fight. We continue to make broadband a priority for the region because we connect providers with communities and townships that are really interested in that. So if you know anyone interested in that space, please connect me. We're very interested in housing because you can't chase projects and economic development until you chase people. And so if you have a declining enrollment of school or population, what does that mean? How can we provide opportunities for creative housing projects? In 2023, the Minnesota legislature allocated basically a unicorn amount of money in $1.3 billion towards housing, one time. How much of that money is coming north and how are we ready for that? So we're in dialogue with our mayors, our city councils, about what their municipal structure is, about what they're able to do to contribute to the housing shortage right now. We again develop a set of legislative priorities, and most recently I released a legislative survey. Superintendent Schmidt should have received that along with others, and feel free to share that with your board and have them fill it out if you wish. But we're soliciting input in a way that we've never done before. What is important to your district? Please share that by the end of the week. That would be fantastic. One of the really important things that didn't happen last year was a bonding project. We had no municipal bonding for the state of Minnesota, and that was an epic failure of local government because a lot of projects just got a lot more expensive. And so one of the things that we're looking for next year is what are the priorities around bonding? We know that school districts on the range are specifically benefiting from the taconite production tax. Rockridge alone gets $3.7 million from taconite production tax. And that's money you don't have to ask for, bond for, levy for, or anything like that. It's a unique benefit of our local property taxes being returned to the district from where they came from. It's a really important thing to understand how mining affects our region. Another thing we have to educate on when we go outside of the Iron Range because people don't naturally understand that item. The very last document that I have on the back of that legislative thing is a harder card version of school trust lands. You heard Dr. Schmidt, I think probably 2 or 3 board meetings ago, bring up the U.S. Forest Service letter on school trust lands in the boundary waters. And I want to focus on specifically the blue sheet at the back of the packet that I handed you. It kind of is are you a trust fund baby? Well, that sounds kind of weird, but it's the school trust. Every school kid in Minnesota gets, at their district level, $57 per kid. Right now in Rockridge, that's about $137,000. Again, you don't have to bond for it, levy for it, ask for it, ever. It is established by the founding fathers of Minnesota to make sure that we had, in perpetuity, money set aside for education. What a gift, okay? It's $137,000. It's not $1 billion, but it's something, and you'd notice it like if it was gone, right? Just as a point of information, that document will get updated probably every 2 years. So what you have right now is probably the document they're going to roll through. Be happy to discuss school trust lands with you. It's a very interesting topic. We have an annual dinner coming up on December 19th at the Iron Trail Motors Event Center. It's open to all board members. You are included in that as well as you are members of RAMS. It's a free dinner to all board members within the RAMS service area. We'll be electing new board members to the RAMS board. The RAMS board is made up of 24 elected officials. Now you have 7 on your board, but we have 24 on our board. So we have people everywhere who care about the Iron Range and our northern Minnesota communities that come together to discuss the regional importance of the things that we care about and how we can carry those messages forward. Nominations will be due by the end of November, and I'll be sending that information out to Dr. Schmidt, and he can circulate that for your consideration. So if you're interested in serving on the RAMS board, 11 roll off every year in a 2-year cycle. So 11 one year, 11 another year, and then we have 2 appointed superintendents from the Superintendents Association. So, as a former educator, being at a school, I talk a lot. And as an extroverted band teacher, I'm really good at running the room. But now it's your turn. What are the priorities for Rockbridge School District? How can Rams be helpful? What can I help as far as your priorities?
Any questions for Paul?
When did you say nominations are due?
It'll be at the end of November. You're talking for the Rams board seats? Yeah.
I'm actually glad you're here, Paul, because, well, number one, I didn't know you were a band and choir teacher, so that's fun to learn. But I really didn't know much about Rams, so getting some information I feel like is super beneficial. I had a question, but I lost it. I have to think about it again. It's my age.
If you think of it, jump in at any
I will.
point in time. Yeah.
Hi, Paul, I have a couple questions. So the school board members on Rams, when you talk about legislative initiatives and lobbying and everything,
Yeah.
do you have like subcommittees? I mean, I used to belong to Rams, but I think it's changed for it's changed since a long time ago, but do you have like an education committee that comes up and promotes or provides or gives direction to school things? And then are those board members directly in contact with their particular boards to get those? Because we just had like the Minnesota School Board Association, they've got their legislative platform too. And we as boards can and we're asked to, I think the deadline is gone now, to submit for their legislative platform. So I'm thinking of something patterned like that for Rams. Do you have that?
Sure. So one of our great strengths is we've got distributed leadership all throughout the committees of Rams. We have an executive committee that functions primarily as the personnel committee. We don't get really tied up in the superstructure of all of these different diverse types of committees. That if someone has an idea, they're free to bring it at any point in time. And we generally discuss things, cards on the table at our board meetings. Like, we don't have any secret backroom deals or anything like that. We just lay it all out there. We have interested parties who are interested in various types of legislation that certainly give us our input at the time we request it. And so our boards go out and they solicit that information and then bring it back to us.
So they bring it back to the full group.
Yep.
Did you have a special timing of the year that you have your membership suggest legislate for the next couple of
This is the time of year. The purpose of our legislative survey is to collect that information, and then we will then aggregate that, and then the full board will chew on those results. We'll share those information with the board in the survey results at the next board meeting, and then we will take that under advisement and then approve a set of legislative priorities as the entire Rams board.
So this one that says legislative update May of 2024, this is what happened in the past.
This is
with
what happened in general across the entire Minnesota legislature, yes.
Right, and then so this one with the red, and the first three involve schools. And so do you have a survey form that you send out?
Yes, I have a municipal survey and a education survey, so.
Okay, and all school boards get that, or just
Yep,
your?
all of the superintendents receive that, and what they choose to do with that is their business after that. For me, I'm not gonna tell them to send it to their specific members. If they choose to fill that out as the contact point, that's certainly be an item for them to decide.
How frequently does the Rams board meet?
So we meet monthly, and so we meet on the fourth Thursday of the month, with the exception of some holidays, okay? And we have a website, ramsmn.org. You can find a lot of information. I think probably in the next couple months, we're gonna be kind of reorganizing that around our priority areas of broadband, housing, education, local government. And so I'm looking forward to kind of going through that editing process and kind of honing the tip of the spear on that, yeah.
I remember my question, which was Brandy's question, but are your meetings just open to the public then? They're not closed?
We meet at the Northeast Service Co-op unless posted otherwise, and members and public alike are able to attend, yeah.
What's your funding, Paul? Some of it legislative and then some of it by membership fees from?
Yeah, so a good question. In Minnesota State Statute 471, we are paid, our funding comes from the taconite production tax, and then we also have member dues that we also solicit every year.
And is any of that funding tied in with the IRRB? I know the TAC and ITAX. and
So no,
they've
we're a
got-
separate entity entirely from the IRRB. Yep.
Okay, and the funding too, if I remember. Okay. All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
Any more questions for Paul?
Just to reiterate, if you had said if we had any ideas legislatively, we could, by the end of the week, give it to Dr. Schmidt,
Yes, or
correct?
at any other time. All of you have a card with my personal cell phone number on it. I mean, I feel like I should probably just put it on Facebook every day or something like, because everybody and their brother's got my number. But just know that the phone's always on, the email's always open. You can reach out to me anytime on any issue, whether it's a big deal or a small deal or a friend, I don't know deal. Just lay it out there and I'll try my best to connect you with the people that can help get you the answer that you need and be an advocate for the region. I'm your person here, boots on the ground. I live here, I work here, my kids go to school here. 3 of their teachers are in the room today. So it's like, we're connected to the community we serve and it's a privilege.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me and please don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Up next is 5.2.
Which was now me.
This is the student representative report, but we're gonna have a discussion on meet and confer and just committee updates. Sorry, Shayna, I know you're excited.
So Nicole can help me because I was running a little late from work that day, so I was a little bit late in discussing some of the items. But I do have notes, and again, I was doing my best to listen to what they have to say at the end about the class sizes and concerns about that I didn't get a ton of notes at the end. But our agenda involved PSEO, discussion on that. Came a little bit late, so Nicole might be able to provide more information on that. Essentially, teachers were looking at, the numbers of students we have leaving, and attending, college versus being on campus, and they're wondering about, how to go about keeping and retaining those students, and they were wondering if they could kind of take the lead in bringing us some solutions to the problem. They did have some when they came, but they're going to kind of take the lead and then come discuss it with the school board, right?
I think you said it all basically. Yeah, they're looking for creative kind of solutions to keep, because there's so many, especially, wasn't it like 11th grade? There's just a lot of kids that are doing that. And so looking at creative solutions to retain kids basically.
Like flexible scheduling type things, to make it more appealing for kids to stay here.
Right.
The other thing that was on the agenda was discipline, and I'm happy to report it sounded like all of the buildings are pleased with how the school year has gone with discipline. They have a behavior matrix that they're utilizing. They have some forms they're utilizing as well that's helping with communication and just overall with the management of behaviors. So that was positive. And also administration is more visible in the hallways, and they feel better supported.
Support was the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
For sure.
They feel things are more consistent, they feel more supported, and again, like I said, more visibility by administration. Kids that are being destructive are being removed immediately and they're returning when they're calm. There's different levels of the matrix system, level 1, level 2, and level 3. Everyone can see documentation. They're having re-entry meetings, positive door greetings when students are coming in. Everyone's out in the halls, all the teachers are out in the halls. And again, administration is walking the floors. Did I miss anything?
I think you got it. Yeah.
Okay.
I think there was a lot of the biggest thing that I took away, the communication, like everybody was on the same page and everyone was, it just seemed to be going really well. I was really actually surprised, happily surprised, yeah.
Yeah.
That it was such a good conversation about that.
Yeah, and I had school staff share with me too, the matrix and some of those forums so that I could kind of see what was going on too. So looked really good. There was a discussion about student art and COSTAs and being, a third level 1, a third level 2, a third level 3. It was pointed out that no one's art is being excluded, but just kind of looking at the type of art that's being put up in kind of the creative thinking type things. Sound good, Noel?
Yep.
Okay.
And where art can be displayed, especially in like the new North Star.
There was also going to be a discussion on coaches transporting students. We didn't end up talking about that. But there was just concerns about, I think, liability, if I remember correctly, but we didn't have a huge discussion on that. And then we got into the class sizes, and like Mr. Warren had said, he had pointed out, that we've lost 25 FTEs since the collaboration.
That's 5 years, I think it was. That wasn't me, but I think it was.
Okay, last 5 years, that they've lost 25 teachers. And again, a lot of discussion on the second grade and the high numbers, and we as board members that were there stated, we've always prioritized having small classes, and we all have gotten on the board. I would say we've all gotten on the board because we want to do what's best for students and support teachers and provide opportunities. So again, it was brought up, and I think they summarized a little bit too when they spoke earlier during visitor input, but just about the amount of space in there. Like if they were to have, we want to invite parents in and have them see what we're doing in the classrooms, and they had said that, if you're going to do that with 27 kids in the class and each of them are bringing parents, that's a lot of people in one classroom, not a whole lot of room, and students are smushed into the classrooms. It doesn't allow, they didn't focus on this, but when you've got discipline things in the classroom too, it makes it really hard when you've got larger numbers. And the point was made about conferences. How do you put them into time slots when you have that many kids? You're not even at conferences long enough to do that. The budgets came up about classroom budgets not being as equal to sports budgets. That was brought up as well. We encouraged staff, because staff had asked, where would you like us to go with our concerns? Do we go to our building admin? Do we come to the school board? What would you like to see? And we had encouraged them to communicate their needs with their building admin, because they are there to advocate for their staff too. And then we also encourage them to attend budget and finance committee meetings for things like these discussions about staffing, about teachers. They did say that there's plenty of room at the Parkview for another second grade classroom. I had asked that question. So there's space there to allow for that. A lot of discussion surrounding the class sizes and student needs and what we can do. And as it was brought up earlier during the consent agenda, I do think that bringing these things to the personnel committee would be a great start. The other thing that was said too is having those quarterly meet and confer meetings has really been helpful for all of us to kind of communicate with each other, work with each other, collaborate, and find out what's working, what's not working, just to kind of approach it in a positive, open-minded team effort.
Proactive.
Proactive, yes. Did I cover it?
Yeah, I think you did excellent. Yeah, I really appreciate the meet and confer because we're not in the classroom, we don't know, so we only hear what we hear. And it's just so nice to be able to, because we want to help, we want to be an advocate and for teachers and students and staff, and we want to make sure that, you know, we're doing right by the district. And so sometimes, you know, we all have full-time jobs or whatever, so we're not there. The teachers are there, and it's just really nice to be able to hear the concerns and the good things too that are working, and hopefully support that. But you did a great job. You went over pretty much everything. And I do think that we really need to talk about the class sizes and probably in the.
Especially at that
Yeah,
young
absolutely.
an age level.
That was really disturbing and something that I am disappointed by. I didn't know. I think when we talked about the budget, I felt like, I mean, it's kind of a whirlwind because you got to get a lot of information, but I felt like that wasn't part of like class sizes, like that. I don't feel like that we were told they were going to be that big. And
Well, and I think that in all fairness, I think that when you start a school year, you have no, you have no gauge on how many kids are gonna transfer in, or, I mean, maybe history, but you just never know how many are going to be moving into the district. Cause it sounds like there's still kids moving in, each week, into our district and into our classrooms and overloading their classrooms. And the other thing that they had brought up was about having a cap. Could we have a cap on the number of students in classrooms?
I think that should be discussed in the personnel
Committee.
Yeah, I do. And maybe it's more of a loose cap because I don't know. You could discuss it in the personnel.
Well, because what happened was they ended up getting 9 students that we didn't know about.
Right.
So a loose cap might have prevented, that to be happening.
And I think, the teachers brought up a few times, like, there's no study about, low class sizes or high class sizes, but I think like common sense will tell you big class sizes at elementary level are not good. And I, as a board member, that's like really important to me. I want to keep them smaller. I think that's way too big for second grade. I don't like that at all, and I don't think most parents would be happy with that either.
So what, I have to ask the question, what is the comparison from Parkview to Laurentian? Say 4th grade, what are the class sizes?
This
We
is
had that
second
this
grade,
summer.
but
We had some numbers this summer, but that was before the school started, and I know we make October 1st reports to the state. Maybe we could and should get an update too of how that, since school started and now that things are settling down, and especially now our specific required head counts to the state, that'll give us a better idea. Was there any other discussion about class sizes in sciences and math? Elementary.
There was some discussion about high school as well. I want to say there was some English, because I believe it was Jill Clennon that had brought it up too. What else? One other thing that did come up in the class sizes discussion is transportation of students. If they were to choose to go to the Laurentian, but they're Virginia side, just kind of how that all works out, or if we could say you're over there, you have to go there, that kind of thing, even if parents are.
But I think maybe if you have a loose cap, then that, the first come is like actual, students that live in the particular town, maybe. I don't know, that's an idea. And then until we get to that, a loose cap or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'll ask the question again, what is the comparison between Parkview and Laurentian? Well,
You had it in your board meeting just a couple board meetings ago. But
They probably have changed though.
they've changed a little bit, but they're more similar because you've also lost some kids here too.
okay, so they're pretty much within a couple.
Yeah,
There was one grade that was-
they're not that different from what you saw a couple.
There was one grade with big
Our
classes.
second grade number is 66, which means there's 22 in a class at Laurentian.
At Laurentian? Okay, and then that was what grade again, Shayna?
Second. I was comparing second to second.
And then the second grade class in Parkview has
27.
27, 3 sections at 27 each.
How many sections at Laurentian? Is it 3?
3 to 4.
Three.
The one class have a 4 section.
No, they're at 3 across the board.
So,
Was there a fifth grade class at Laurentian that's got the big numbers or something? If I remember right.
I mean, maybe hate to go back and revisit this, but maybe the attendance boundary, do you think if they opened up midway to Laurentian, that would change the numbers positively?
That, that's.
No, I'm asking a question.
Who are you asking?
Well, I was asking Shayna and
Sheena.
Noel.
It would, remember years ago, when they did the study,
Yeah.
what will happen is if you do that, you will overload Laurentian.
Okay, all right, thank
You
you.
won't have room for them.
Okay, all right.
That's why, and the Midway kids at that time, the parents wanted them to go to Parkview.
I thought Laurentian would have been about 90-95% full. Not that we wouldn't have any room. It would be full, but we had room.
Well, it depends what your definition of full is.
Well,
Those classes would have been loaded, you would have had 25, 26, 27, 28, and on the other side of Virginia, you'd be looking at 19, 20, 21, 22s.
Well, it was last year, we had the teachers from Laurentian saying they had overloaded.
I want to say it was second grade
I think so too.
that was overloaded last year at the Laurentian.
That's what I was thinking too.
And you're going to get
2 years ago?
variability from
2
year
years
to
ago.
year. It's going to happen.
So it's probably the
I
fourth.
mean,
grade
there's
class.
probably, it's just one of the kinks that we have to work out, and it sounds like Parkview is in need of another teacher over there to kind of reduce those class sizes, which is what they're saying. But anyway, I'm off topic a little bit, but kind of, but.
Well, it's about, we're talking or discussing what happened at the meet and confer, and enrollment and class sizes were part of that.
Members of the board, if this is okay with you, we'll bring all of this to the personnel committee. Class sizes, everything, what you've heard here, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
So was there an actual agenda for this?
Yes.
meeting?
Yes.
There was. Brandy went over the agenda.
Yep.
No, I know, but online it just says, meet and confer.
They provided us the day
Okay.
before.
Yeah.
They typically, the day before the meet and confer meeting, they'll send us an email on what they would like to have discussed.
Yeah, we probably should post that on board book too. And then did the board have any meet and confer items? Because we can,
We did not.
maybe as a board to give it to the
Essentially,
committee the next time.
Discussions on what they have.
I know, I see you've scheduled ones into next year too. And
Yeah.
maybe before that, we can all be thinking, there might be meet and confer items from the school district and board side too.
That's
bring-
a great idea.
Because that's
Yeah.
legislative too.
Right.
Okay, so 5.2, which was changed over to committee updates.
Was there any other committee updates?
Negotiations, nothing, yeah.
um,
What day was that?
On what, board members, what happened, the school board negotiations committee did meet to talk about individual contracts. They made some recommendations, so we are talking to individual people. You have a number of folks who are on individual contracts, certainly everybody in this row, right here. And so we will bring those numbers to you and what those recommendations were at the next board meeting. So you can see what every single one of those recommendations was.
So was there an actual negotiation session where you
No,
negotiated,
no, I-
talked?
Nope. No, we met to discuss how we were going to negotiate with those individual contracts, which lasted like, about 15 minutes.
Okay, so there was,
Because we weren't going to do it like we did last time, where everybody came to us. We were going to take a different approach to it.
okay, so there was no across the table negotiations with anybody?
Nope.
So there will be then, or what will the next step be?
What's that?
What will the next step be? Noel said you board made some recommendations.
Not the board, the
Board.
committee.
That board committee,
made
okay?
some
Board
recommendations.
committee made some recommendations for the individual contracts.
Yep, and so.
What happened to those recommendations?
So we are talking to the individual people involved about what those recommendations were. And then at the next board meeting, I'll bring to you what all of those specific recommendations were with the exact dollar figures and everything at the next board meeting. So you can see what those recommendations were.
But when will the input from the individual contract employees come in?
At this point, the committee recommended to not do that right now.
You aren't asking any of them to sign contracts at this point in time?
No.
Okay. Okay,
I think
Okay.
Sheena's up next.
Okay, that's it. Sheena, you are up.
Sheena.
Sheena.
Sheena, Shayna,
Shayna,
well,
Shayna.
whatever.
Whatever works.
8 years. I still ain't figured it out.
Yeah, that's okay.
Almost 8 years.
Yeah. Good evening, board members. I come to you a month and a half here into school. School's off to a great start at Parkview. I wanted to let you know when I looked just briefly, a few minutes here, about our adds and drops, because now I know you're talking about student numbers. We're holding steady. We from day one until today, in K through 2, we have gained 10 kids and lost 5, so we're up 5, but holding pretty steady. What you're hearing from my staff is, yes, we are gaining. We had 3 new students just start today. We're not seeing that influx because we're also losing students that are going, either moving out of state or whatever. So we're not seeing the numbers climb in every other grade level, but in second grade, they have climbed because we've gained more students there. So otherwise though, we're off to a great start. All of our classes have started, and I mean that in terms of all of our early childhood, our ECFE classes, all of those extra things that usually start a little bit later into the year. They've all started now. They're going really well. In fact, ECFE has a carnival, or a fall festival, I should say, coming up next Thursday, the 24th, from 5 to 6:30 for all ECFE families within our Rockridge district. It is held at the Laurentian this time. I know that through that program, they try to do them between the Laurentian and the Parkview. So this one's held at the Laurentian, but that's coming up to get that nice little fall festival for those littles in. At Parkview, our PTA did put on a fall festival, or a fall carnival, I should say, as kind of a fundraiser. They chose not to do a send home, go sell things fundraiser, but we held a carnival, and all of our teachers and staff so graciously donated some time. They came and ran a little carnival game, and the kids bought some punch tickets to go through the games and win some little prizes and things, and it was a hit. It was a hit for all of the kids and the families. A couple hours, I should say, of fun in one night, and we're done. And it was a great fundraiser for our PTA. So, like I said, the kids had a lot of fun with that too. I would like to give a shout out to the local fire departments. They have been doing the last couple of years a collaboration of all the fire departments. So Mountain Iron, Evelyn, Gilbert, Virginia, Fayal, have been coming together to do fire safety at the different local districts and buildings together so that they can hit all of the classes and really give them a nice showing of the trucks and things like that. So that happened at Parkview this morning for all of our kids. So they had fun with that. As far as things coming up, I know I mentioned that ECFE Fall Festival. Our Parkview teachers were invited to do McTeacher Night at McDonald's. So I expect to see all of you eating your lovely supper at McDonald's on the 24th because 10% of the proceeds from that night will be donated back to the Parkview. So on Thursday from 4 to 7, October 24th, you can come and see your favorite Parkview staff working at McDonald's and get some food to donate some of those proceeds back. So we're pretty excited about that. I know I did it many years ago. And we had a lot of fun, and the kids just loved to see us, the staff and teachers working there. So we also have our harvest party coming up on the 31st of October for our students during the day. The PTA puts that on. They have little games for them as well on that day. And Parkview conferences are November 12th and 14th, and I won't be back before then, so I figured I'd bring them up. That we will be meeting with our families the 12th and 14th of November. And that is all I have for you tonight, unless you have questions for me.
Don't. Any questions? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Sheena.
Thanks,
Sheena.
Up next is the superintendent report.
Thank you, Director Addy. A couple things to update the board on. The first thing is, before I get the superintendent goals, is we do have school board elections coming up. And what will be happening, there will be a school board candidate forum, and that will be on Monday, October 21st at 6 PM. It will be held here in the admin building. And the students are running the show. They have done this before in the past. They are running the school board candidate forum, and it is an opportunity for people who are running for school board to express their views, and so folks can know how they feel about various topics, and also for the other way, for people to understand and ask candidates and hear where the candidates are. We, as a school district, we are not running it. We're agnostic on that as far as who's on the school board. The community votes the school board members in. I've worked with, I think, over 23 school board members over the last 8-9 years. So whoever the public selects, that's who the governing board is for the Rockbridge School Board. But there is an opportunity to meet the candidates, and we will do exactly what we do for all the school board meetings. We will record it. So if you're watching on camera tonight, you can show up and watch it live, or you can watch it on YouTube, or we will also keep the video, so you can also go to our social media or website and take a look at it and watch it at your leisure. But just want to give you a heads up that that is coming up. Second thing is that I brought the superintendent goals up the last meeting we had. I don't know if I need to go through them again one by one like I did last time. I did get some feedback. I modified some of the goals based upon the feedback I've gotten, but they're there. And I guess I'm asking for one last round of feedback if any board member has them. Otherwise, I will start implementing them. So is there any last feedback that any member of the board would want on my goals for 24-25?
On, how about attending the more local superintendent meetings? Is that any sort of a goal?
It is not. I can add that one because I don't have nearly as many construction meetings as I used to have.
Okay,
Yep, I will add that one.
just so there, you know,
Yeah.
you're part of those discussions with
Yep.
local superintendents. And then, just, you know, making sure your visibility is, at all the buildings. So everybody's used to seeing you walking in the hallways and
I think that's on there.
communicating. I looked and I didn't see it.
He's talking to classrooms.
Number 8.
Number 8?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Yep, I was just in 4 today. So, yes.
And superintendent visibility, are you talking about the Region 27, 26, 27, or 28? Are you talking about the superintendent meetings? Because there's also, we still belong to this LC. And
Absolutely. And what happened, because we had 3 buildings under construction, I missed a lot of those meetings because they were at the same time we had construction meetings, because my first obligation and loyalty is to the school district, not necessarily to all of the area superintendents. So that's where I spent my time. But now the construction meetings have tailed way off. They're literally done almost. So yes, I will add that, Director Lotiger, as a goal.
Thank you.
And do we get, I know we don't get them, but I'd be interested in those superintendent meetings. You must have agendas, you have regular meetings, and what about minutes of those meetings, of the superintendent meeting?
Minutes are kept. I get minutes of those
I
meetings.
know, but we don't get them as board members, you know?
No, would you like me to pass them on to you?
Yeah, I would. If
Not
we
a
used to get-
secret.
As Ella and Ella Gilbert, a little bit off topic, we used to get the minutes of, RAMS and those other organizations we belong to, but they seem to have kind of petered out, and I was always
But you
interested.
belong to a number of groups
Yeah.
that, do you want all of these minutes? You belong to the serv, I know,
It
but
might just be me, okay?
I am curious on what the discussions are locally with
Yeah.
superintendents and what, you know, what are issues and.
That's okay.
Might be a good
I agree
connection
with
and
that.
communication.
I'll send
I
it to
think,
you.
yeah, to keep us
Absolutely.
informed, so we know what's going on.
Can do.
Good idea.
Will do.
And there's Rams, there's ARC, there's whatever.
You want all of them?
Well, you know
Personally,
what, I
I'm
could
just
go,
interested
you know
in
what, I could go on their website if they're posted.
the superintendent.
They may or may
They're all on
not
the
be
website.
posted, but I don't know where that I'd find it. We used to have EIP and that's defunct now and, but I don't think that you have them online for the supers
No.
meetings. And then the agendas,
I think whatever's not online.
Okay.
yep.
That would be the 27, 28 superintendents. The others, I think, are all online. You can get them. Okay, can do.
Yep, thank you.
Okay,
And that is it.
all right. Moving along to the treasurer's report. Can I get a motion for the treasurer's report? Moved by
Second.
Culver Dahl, supported by Westby. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Stay.
Motion passes 6.
5.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you. 5-1,
501.
501. Okay, the policies here, the first reading. I'm gonna make a suggestion that the first reading that we go from 6.1 to 6.42 in a blanket first reading,
So moved.
Support.
okay? And so, moved by Sorkin, second by Lotiger, any discussion?
I was just looking for clarification earlier on the colors of changes. And red is, I believe, MSBA changes, green is our changes, and then there was blue as well. And the blue was
What's the blue?
changes from last year?
Well, and we looked and there's really two colors. There's primarily red, the MSBA ones, and then if the committee makes any recommendations, it's really green. There are sometimes the colors look similar because of different policies and Stacy's printing them off, but it's really green and red.
Okay.
Green is your committee is making a suggestion, recommendation. Red is MSBA is making a suggestion.
Okay,
And this is just the first reading.
Okay,
correct.
so we got motion by Sorkin, support by Lotiger to blanket policy to approve all 6.1 through 6.42. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving along to administrative items. 7.1, consider submitting a nomination for the Northeast Service Cooperative Board of Directors that it is looking to fill 3 school board representative positions. Okay, now, this is not something you vote on, it was just, they're just looking for a nomination.
So because Tim is already on and he's not up until 2026, does this even apply to us?
Probably not, I think.
Maybe not, but you got it, and so we wanted you to see it.
Okay, so we can just take no action on this, I believe. Okay,
And because if we had a nomination from somebody from another district, we would want to do that unless we knew that that person was open to it, right?
Right.
So we'll just, yeah, I think that'd be good, take no action.
all right. So, okay, we'll move along to 7.2. Consider the proxy statement from the Minnesota School Boards Association Insurance Trust.
So again, on this, it's pretty much, we have a choice, we can just vote the suggested ones, or just don't vote for anybody. We don't even know these people, I guess it doesn't. So we do have a choice, vote for the nominees listed, or do not vote for the nominees listed.
What's the board want to do?
I'll move that we just don't vote for anybody.
Take no action?
I would second that.
Okay, so we
But
got
it's not taking any action. We have
It's
two
just-
action choices on the last page there. Like, we just
Yeah.
don't vote for any of the nominees.
okay, so then 7.3 is gonna be the same, I do believe.
Yeah.
So it's, so 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, we just won't take any action. So, but I'll read 7.3 to the public, to consider the proxy statement from the Minnesota School District Liquid Asset Funds Plus. Okay, that's, all right?
Noel, do we partake in either one or both of these, the insurance trust and the liquid asset? We do.
Okay. All right, so we'll move along to 8, meeting announcements. 8.1, the school candidate forum will be scheduled Monday, October 21st, 2024 at 6 PM here in the Rockridge Administrative Building. Our next regular meeting will be October 28th at 6 PM here in the Rockridge Administrative Building. At this point, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
Auditor, support by Alberta Dahl. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.